Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to our next episode of the podcast. Today we have an amazing advocate of sustainability, a founder who has been advocating sustainability, advocating customization, and advocating a lot of other stuff that we will be listening from her end, from her side. She has been a marketer as a pro and practicing marketing as a profession for a very long time, and switched from marketing to starting her own business with her mother. A beautiful journey, a beautiful story. Let's hear it out from her. Hi, Nazuka. Welcome to our podcast, and thank you so much for doing this with us.
Hi, Nopal. Thank you. Thanks for having me, really.
I don't think my introduction has justified the things that you have been doing, the way you have been advocating sustainability. So, I would really want to hear it from you. I want to understand, the very basic thing when I came across was the brand name Tofa. It is so simple, and it's like a thing that we use daily, but it's still so unique. Like nobody might have thought that acha chalo isse we can make a brand, chalo bana lete hain brand. But how did this come to you that let's name the brand Tofa?
So, actually, the name Tofa has very little to do with what we started doing, very honestly. I'm a big fan of Urdu and Hindi poetry, and I absolutely enjoy the way the poetry uses language. And I saw a lot of similarity in what we were doing with fabric, the handcrafted fabric that we use. Wo to you can see it everywhere, but then the idea was to pick up something that you see everywhere, turn it into something beautiful, and which I thought was on the same lines as poetry. So Tofa, hence, because I love the sweetness of Hindi and Urdu language, and that's where the inspiration comes from.
Amazing. And if you can enlighten us, so the brand name came and then you thought, but this is a journey of your with your mother. It's not something that you started, but I think you're living a dream of your mother, which I understand. Can you enlighten us with the story of how this journey began and how did you come up? Let's start this brand, and everything fell into place.
Thanks for asking this question because I absolutely love telling this story. It was back in 2017 when I was just fresh out of college, and my mom had actually lost her job at that time, and she was the sole provider of the family. My dad used to stay far away from us, and it was then when I saw that I also had a job, but then I was a fresher, so it was like a very basic job. And that's when I saw that she was struggling to find something new because it's not like a government job or something of that
Hmm.
sort. She was from the fabric and that sort of an industry, and but she was running around for jobs, and she was already crossing 50 at that time, and I didn't want her to do that. Like, I could see that she had so much potential to do so much more than just settle for something because we had the need to make
Hmm.
ends meet. And whatever modest money that I earned from my first job, I had that confidence in her and me that we could start something and do something that she actually wanted to do even before she got married. She
Correct.
used to do exhibitions at that time, and she was clothing and apparel. And so, but she hadn't stitched for a very long time, so she was very underconfident. So I was like, maybe we can try something. Maybe we can. I actually invested only 2,000 rupees, and that's
Oh,
the that's that's like the secret very few people know, that when we started the business, because we're from middle class families, so it becomes difficult to take risk.
of course.
Rupees, we made whatever products we thought we could come up with, ideas. We put together our brainstormed on what small things we could make out of fabric, which would replace the other plastic based material that most people use otherwise. And that's actually how we started it. We had a small exhibition where we invited a few of our friends and family at home. It was set up right there in our living room, and they all came. that it was a very supportive gesture of all of them, but they really loved the products. A lot of them are still our customers, and they call us up first thing whenever they need something, some gifting item, or they always are on the lookout. They will always ask us, Ki, what is the new thing that you've launched? So yeah, that's how our journey has been. It's been very simple, um, very home based, but it's
Very
bloomed.
organic.
Yeah, yeah, very organic, true. Very organic, and it's becoming better and bigger.
I just love the story. And you know what, I sometimes feel, because I am a person who advocates, women empowerment so much, and I really want my mother to, do stuff, because she is in a government job, but I know the way she holds her talent back, because she has to go to the job every day. And I feel that little push, you give your mothers, and they can do wonders, like, so much.
True, true.
it's
Uh,
it's
and
so beautiful.
yeah,
It's so beautiful.
I mean, and after I've started the business, we've started the business, sorry. After we've started the business, there are so many women who've come across, who we have come across, even in friends and family, who tell us that, tell us how we can be involved in this business. Tell us how can we do something together, because they're so inspired by uh, something that we started. Because we all come from very like we all come from families where they tell us that job karo, shadi karo. So it's always like that. So I think instead of getting stuck in that rut, mom and I, we put our heads together to create something of our own,
Something.
and it touch wood worked out well for us.
No, no, that's wonderful. So when you started your journey, I'm sure everybody, whenever we start a business or we think about starting something, we do a market research, like a very basic thing ki, यार ये प्रोडक्ट है मार्केट में, या what is missing, and how do we, fit into that space where we can provide something which is unique and different. So how important do you think market research is, and how much research or effort did you put into, researching that kya hai available and what is not there?
Very honestly, I was very young to understand the concept of market research at that time. But I surely did that on my own. I definitely didn't want to get into apparel. I didn't want to get into jewelry because I saw a lot of competition there, and I saw that the market was quite saturated even then. However, I think my main
Hmm.
sense of market research was the concept of sustainability and eco-conscious consumerism. More than anything, what the way I looked at business, or I still look at business, is the opportunity to put something on the table that people might or might not know about. But if you're pushing them to do or choose something better, I think you have a business idea there. So I did my market research. I saw what products were there. Rather, I saw what plastic products were there that could be replaced by fabric products that could be stitched at home. Because when we started off, my mom was the only one stitching the products. Then later on, we added a team of women who we still work with. So, but market research, I don't think you can do away with it, because uh, if you consider a small market, or if you position yourself in a small market to begin with, there are constraints of growing. So always consider market to be like the entire world at first, and then come down to where you want to begin. So market research is the most important thing before anybody even thinks of starting a business.
Yeah, absolutely. Even I have the same point of view, that before jumping into anything, whether it is a business or you're starting something out of passion, even then it's required to do a proper research.
Yes,
Without it, I don't
because
think
you're
we can.
investing your time, you're investing your money, and it's like taking any decision. it
Yeah.
it might be that you feel that tomorrow something that you invest your time and money in will flourish or whatever. But in the time and space that we are right now, it's very important to be very very cautious about where you're putting your time and energy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that is what market research answers. Ideally, that's the question that market research answers. Should I put my time and energy here, or should I look at something else? So, I
Correct.
think very important.
So now that you spoke about your investing time and energy, when you invest your time and energy, it also is very important that along with that you are maybe supporting your own ethics and ethical value, which from like now that I know your brand and I know you, I know that you come from that space where you want to create something which is sustainable for the environment, sustainable for your surrounding. So, how important do you think sustainability is at this date, like this point of time, and how many brands should and do you think like brands should enter into this space?
Uh, Very honestly, sustainability is so important that people should have started adopting it uh, maybe 20, 30 years ago. That's how important sustainability is right now, especially if you look at all the COP28 discussions, or if you look at what companies are doing, the bigger companies, the multinational players. There are standards set by the government, because sustainability, there's no going back on it. It's not like if you don't do it today, you can do it tomorrow. We can already see that it's December, and I'm in Pune right now, and it doesn't feel like December. We've known a better December, right? The weather patterns, the climate change, and it's real. And I remember a few years ago when I was studying it, um, I know that people were just talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
really see it in front of us, but now we can see it. It rains in any month, or the climate change is so evident. There's heat wave all across the world, all across the globe, somewhere or the other. Production patterns have changed. The kind of fruits, the seasonal fruits have changed. So these are the smaller things that, I think any layman would understand or could see the changes in. The more scientific aspects of it are obviously there for people who are, say, researchers, or who are, trying to advocate sustainability. But for a layman to see the impact of the processes or the industrialization, um, are in this manner. And sustainability, or rather it should become a lifestyle, is what I think of it as, more than anything else. I mean, there's no like, oh, I this time I'll choose sustainable products, and maybe that time I won't. No, because every step, every action you take is impacting your environment. And if you want to live, and if you want your further generations to live, I think it's very important that we start taking heavy measures right now.
Correct. It is more about making a conscious choice
Exactly.
than just deciding overnight that, okay, I'm just going to live a lifestyle which is very sustainable. That doesn't happen, but you have to make every choice of your very consciously.
Right.
That's so true. Now that we are talking about conscious choices, do you also have observed when you entered the market that there is a little bit of consumer shift, like the way people are choosing sustainability or the products, or let's say the choices have shifted, and from just fast fashion they are moving to a little slow fashion customization, and they are conscious about it, like they're doing it consciously. What are your observations on that?
I think there's a huge shift. There is a huge shift in how consumers are looking at fast fashion, or how consumers are looking at conscious consumption, conscious production. And I think it's brilliant. And if it keeps it should fast pace, obviously, but we're already getting there. I think a lot of the younger generation is already conscious about so many things. Like, it could be either something as simple as, buying organic products, or chemical free products, or maybe even the idea of, home businesses or small businesses growing, because people are choosing handcrafted products over, say, ordering something on Amazon, or just instead of buying something like a mass buy. What they're doing is they're looking at all these businesses because they're assured of quality. At the same time, they know that they're harming the planet lesser when they're doing that. So I think there's a huge shift, especially in the apparel section, apparel industry. uh, a lot of organic cotton is coming up, a lot of sustainable ways of
Yeah.
which shows that people are also consuming, even though they are a little higher priced as compared to the mass produced goods. People know that they're better for the planet than something being produced in a huge factory where things just come out of a mold, whereas someone is actually sitting handcrafting it, putting a lot of energy and effort into making each and every piece. So I think there's a huge consumer shift, and the more and more people start understanding the concept of buying handmade products or buying. I'm not saying handmade because I have a handmade product business, but I'm saying the more and more people understand that sustainable choices or good for the planet choices are better, even if you have to put a little more money into it, the better it's going to be for the planet. Because at
Correct.
the end of the day, if tomorrow we don't have a proper regularized climate system for that matter, diseases are going to increase. So it's a vicious circle. But I think there's a huge consumer shift anyway. People are becoming very cognizant of the fact that mass production companies or fast fashion companies are harmful for the planet. They are creating a lot of wastage, uh, which I think is a good, which is a great deal for the planet or sustainability as a sector overall.
And also your brand major USP is handcraft, products or handcrafting plus customization. You also make sure that there is a customer coming to you, their needs are met as per the requirement. You also have a lengthy discussion with them, understanding the requirement and stuff. So when you're designing, planning and discussing with your clients or the customers who approach you, how do you make sure that your brand language is maintained, your patterns are maintained? How do you if I just put it in other way, then how do you make sure that all your products are having a similar brand language and a similar design language?
Sure. So, yeah, that is actually sometimes tricky, because there are a lot of times when people come to us and they tell us that, we will give you the fabric. Can you stitch it for us
Mm.
for cheaper? Because India overall is a very price conscious market, but
Yeah.
then through Tofa, we're trying to do two things. We're trying to not just bring customization to the table, but we're also trying to promote artisanal Indian handcrafted fabric. So,
Hmm.
India has a long history of textile art, which
Hmm.
includes
Hmm.
block printing, which includes kalamkari, which includes dabu printing. There are ajrak patterns. There are so many of them, which are essentially techniques or designs that are traditional to India. And like when you talk about brand language, we only and only work with these fabrics because we only and only want to work with the artisans who are creating these fabrics for us. So that is one thing. Second, when we say customization, so be it say a floor pillow for your home, or maybe if you're looking at gift sets, then the products are set, the prints are the options that we give out as options to people. And that's how I think we ideally maintain our brand language and brand tone, or basically each of our product is a Tofa product or can be identified as a Tofa product through these things, or the overall
Absolutely.
aesthetics of how we mix and match these prints and these art designs together.
Correct. So that is where my question came from, because every product I see of yours represents the brand properly. There is a similar brand language. There can be difference in the pattern, difference in the color, but you still recognize, okay, this is from Tofa, or very very similar to, let's say, we go to Chumbak, or we don't go to Chumbak. We still understand that this brand, this particular product is from Chumbak. Or let's say India Circus, I can still from India Circus. There is a brand language that they maintain, and that's where my question was coming, that
Right.
you very beautifully maintained it, even though you offer customization. And I know India being a very price conscious market, they will come up with their own techniques to reduce the price and give you hundreds of other solution. But it's very important to not deviate from the brand language. Plus, when we talk about all this, customers coming and talking and telling, because you have been, a very young entrepreneur. First of all, congrats to that, that you took this call at a very young age also. How challenging has been your entrepreneurial journey? Like, as an entrepreneur, what are the challenges that you faced?
As an entrepreneur, um, actually, the challenges, to be honest, I don't look at them as challenges. It's more like opportunities to improve, honestly, because you are yourself an entrepreneur. You are also doing a lot of good work. You also work with a lot of different business owners. And I'm sure that every day you also have something new key, like, how do you do this now? Like, how do I fix this, or how do I make this happen? So I think as entrepreneurs, let's not call them challenges, let's call them opportunities, because it just gives a negative connotation to it. But overall, I think, as an entrepreneur, Mm, challenges are many. Like sometimes it's about finances. Sometimes it's about being in the unorganized sector. And the women we work with, for example, uh, they also come from very different backgrounds. Like they come from very conservative backgrounds, or they come from very less privileged backgrounds. And working with them is definitely not a cakewalk. So it's about keeping them organized. It's about connecting with them in the right manner to keep them with you, finding the right labor. Or sometimes, if I am getting work done in India, people are so used to mass producing things that if I'm getting something made, maybe a packaging product made from someone, and they always need bigger quantities. But as a small business, I don't have the capacity then of storing maybe so many things. So then it's navigating the whole conversation with them and convincing them. So there are multiple challenges in that sense, to be honest. I look at them as opportunities. That's why I would never call them a challenge. Or even when I then think about it, it doesn't pop up to me as a challenge. And thankfully, there are a lot of resources available now. So if you know where to find your answers, I think that's more important than highlighting challenges. Rather, navigating through them, or how do you navigate through them, is a better way to address the challenge bit. But yeah, no entrepreneur journey goes without challenges. So there was this labor issue that we always have. Rather, we're always on the lookout for labor, because these women will always put their family and children before the work, which then hampers our production, maybe the quantity that we can produce. Or maybe it's with the finances, or finding the right location to maybe store things. Yeah, there are many, but I think those are all just opportunities, to be very honest.
Yeah, that's very beautifully put though, that all challenges are an opportunity, and for me it's more of a learning actually,
Right,
because with every learning of yours know a solution, and you know what to do next.
right,
You know how to handle it next.
right,
So it's always a learning. Every challenge that comes to us is an opportunity plus a learning, plus you grow with it. Otherwise you never grow.
right.
If you don't face something which you have never, you're not taken aback, then you never learn, you never grow.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And I think the biggest part about challenges is also that you realize that something that you were doing or were not doing could have not been sustainable since you're driven by sustainability. Some aspect of your business might or might not have been sustainable. And so that is why you're facing something. So then you automatically reroute yourself to a better way of doing things. So I think it just makes you more sustainable overall.
Correct. So my final question, that we have heard your story about your brand, how you started and how you're going. What is your vision for the next 5 years, or for Tofa overall, that you want to build this brand to what level and how, so that people who come and listen to your story may also join your journey. So we just want to understand that what is your vision for the brand.
My vision is ideally, I would say, threefold. I would not just want to grow my business, but I would also want people to make more conscious choices. Second, I want to work with as many women as possible and bring about a positive change in their life. And also bring artisanal Indian fabric into the limelight, not just nationally but internationally, not just in the apparel section but also in the home decor section. Like right now, we're working in a very personal use and gifting space. Eventually, I want to move forward into the home furnishing and home decor section, which we've already launched, but there's so much more that we want to do with it. And I want people to appreciate what we have already, and I want to make their homes more beautiful with more customized things and not just products that have been picked up off the shelf from some home furnishing major big company. And so that it doesn't look templatized, I want to that's what I want to do. I want to help people make more sustainable choices, and in the process also offer the most beautiful looking products that are very Indian and aesthetic in their nature.
That's wonderful, but I must tell you one thing. Your products are very beautiful. Like
Thank you.
honestly, and this is not because we are doing this podcast or we have our interactions before. It is because we have come across lot of gifting brands, lot of sustainable gifting brands, but your products are very different in the sense the way it is represented or presented. It's very unique. It's very different and it's very beautiful. So that is something we and my entire team appreciates, and whenever we speak about it now, we think okay, that's a very different product. वो नहीं मिलेगा, वो नहीं दिखा है अभी तक हमें. So that is always there. All the best to you, your brand, your mother. I think the next time I am having to have a like going to have a conversation with you, I will definitely want to have a conversation with you and your mother. Touch wood, if everything works well, we'll do a podcast together face to face. Maybe your mother sitting with us and speaking. uh, God's grace, that should happen.
I think definitely she would also love to be a part of something like this, but because I was telling her about these things, and she's a little shy when it comes to talking to people. So she was very excited, and then I was telling her about your podcast and what you're trying to do with it. And I think it's lovely, and like you rightly mentioned, that we've had our previous interactions and we've seen the sort of connect where maybe it's the business minds that we have, or it's about the entrepreneurial journey and bringing something better to the consumers on the table. I think we really align in all of these spaces, and I think you're doing a lovely job by
Oh, thank you.
to light. So yeah, I think it's
I think it's a modesty you're saying so much, but I'm just trying to maybe give a little I just want to bring out people who are not getting that opportunity to come out. Honestly, that's my only motto. There's nothing else, because I am interacting with so many women, so many entrepreneurs, that I know their journey, and I feel that connect. Because as you said, you started with, very small initial investment. I did the same thing. It was all my savings, and I was like, ठीक है, कितना पैसा खर्च कर सकती हूँ मैं, very conservatively, so that I'm not burning and everything. So that connect is something which I feel with any ethical and honest entrepreneur. I can feel their pain, their story, their everything. And that's the only reason that I'm doing this, that let everybody hear this story out. And they deserve an applaud, they deserve to be heard at least. And
so do
also,
you.
no, no, thank you so much. But it was lovely speaking to you, Nazuka. I
Same,
hope
same
we
here.
meet someday, and I hope we have a face-to-face podcast someday.
Definitely.
But thank you for sharing your journey.
Same. And thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our story. And I hope this really helps people who are looking to start a
Yes.
business, maybe. It inspires them to do that. And I just hope it adds some value.
Same here. I hope this podcast gets us a lot of view and people love it. Please share a lot of love, guys, if you have really loved the story. And do visit website of Tofa. Everything will be linked in the description below. Thank you.